progress.
Hi.
Yo.
What's up?
What the hell? What is going on here? There we go. All right. Couldn't see you guys. There it is. Hello? 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 All right. Okay, there we go. What is this? If you want to talk to me, I'm on Zoom. You have to join the Zoom meeting. Otherwise, gotta call you another time. Bye. What up?
Portia, you look so cute. Hi.
Oh, thanks. Got my pajamas on.
You got your jammies on?
Yeah.
I'm still in the same thing from class.
Yes, if your t-shirt looks cute, I'm doing good, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Thank you.
What's going on over there?
Not much. Everybody's sleeping.
Ah. Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of the people are in Arizona. Is that right now? 3 hours, 5 minutes? 10, 9, 8, 7 there. Yep.
waiting for?
Let's see. All right. This one's gonna be a little more open discussion tonight. It's about you know, what you put out in the world, what you get back. You know, when I talk about it, what I mean, you know, me personally, I know I talked to Amber about this too quite a bit, but you know, what I mean by that for me personally is always talking about, yeah, whatever you put out there is what you can expect back. You know, when I'm speaking of energy or what you're putting out, just not like what you're giving to the world or giving somebody else, whether it be money or your time or something, but deeper level of what energy you're putting out into the world and how that sends out, and it's a vibrational. You know, it's harmonious with one another, and yeah, similar like an echo works. You know, when it runs down a hallway, I mean, it bounces off different things, and like a boomerang, it returns back in your direction. Um, and that's what energy is. Unfortunately, for impatient people, it's hard. It's hard to monetize that. It's hard to feel sometimes that we're be patient enough to know that it's coming back to us, or what we're putting out there will be reciprocated at some point. Because we can't see it right away, and we don't know what form it's coming in. You know, it's a lot like the mental work I've done my whole life, at the business or just personally. It's one of the hardest things to do, because it's the one thing you can't wake up in the morning and see the result of working on your mind. You have to work at it and on it constantly, and look around and be aware of the changes that are happening in your life while you're doing it, instead of, you know, we go to the gym, we can physically see change, or we're going through weight loss, or trying to build muscle, or we can see a transformation and a result, like a transactional in that way. And energy is not like that always. It's a lot of times it's sending it out, and you have no idea when or how it's going to come back. You don't give away $10 and you're gonna get $10 back tomorrow or in 100 years. It's not how it works. It could be you gave somebody $5, complete stranger $5, and it could be in 40 years you're down your luck and somebody witnessed you and helped you out, or bought you a coffee or something. It can be something as small as that. It becomes so big that you will never expect it. But I think why I wanted to have the conversation is we need to start looking at and seeing the connection between things, and really keeping our eyes open to see where are these things coming from. You know, it's not, oh, I've put all this hard work and I deserve it attitude, which a lot of people have, or, you know, it's what's coming to me. You hear a lot. It's what I'm owed. That's not how it works. Energy is put out at some point in your life, and it's returned in a different form or the same form at another part of your life. And like I said, I want to talk about the recognition of that. Like, how do we recognize and be patient to understand that we got to keep showing up every single day, and even if you don't see it or see what you're expecting right away, that you have to be patient, because it's coming, or it's already come in different forms that you're just not open your eyes to. You think that these are small things that are expected, that you know, losing something and finding it, it's just a little thing, right? But that's a thing. We got to be open to every possibility, everything that's coming in our life. A moment when we're down luck, or between jobs, or trying to find a place, or a spot with in a friendship, like all the little successes come from vibrational energy that's been sent out at one point or another. So we talked about counting our blessings in a message. It's like, it's similar to that to me in the way of every day going through practice and understanding that everything that happens to us, good or bad, is coming from, to me, in my eyes, is coming from these echoing that you're sending out, these bouncing, these vibrationals that are going out in the world. And just as easy as you can send out good, this is not all about like, hey, be good, 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 good. Don't do anything bad. Don't sin. Always send out good stuff. It'll come back to you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that awareness is a huge thing to understand, that if you feel like a lot of things are going in a toilet bowl shape in your life, or you feel like things are stacking on, or, you know, when it rains, it pours, bullshit mantras people use and all these stupid things we come up with for excuses, it's fully controllable by you. It's what you've been sending out. We gotta take a little bit more accountability right here of what vibrations have we been sending out. That's why a lot of times this comes in heavy flows, and a lot of that times when you're really controlling the energy sending out, it's not quite good. It's a little darker. It's a little energy's a little more like, pity me type bullshit sending out in the world, that it is echoing off the same way, and it will come back in that form. And then it becomes overwhelming. It's an overwhelming feeling, like it's happening to us. And in that sense, I'm a strong believer in, that's where disease comes from. That's where illness comes from, sickness. People get sick. I know there are diseases out there that are unstoppable, but like a lot of things manifested in your body. I believe we all have the ability to get sick in any way, whether it be a cold, a simple cold, or mental illness, or, cancer. Mom had several times. It's like, I think it's all sitting in our bodies, all of us. It's how it's manifested and why sometimes. Not always, but we have a lot of control about how our outcome is in front of our eyes, how our eyes see what's in front of us, how we feel, what's internally happening to us. Some people call them miracles. I don't believe in that. I believe in change of attitude. I believe in change of surroundings. I believe in change of energy. What we decide right away, what we're sending out, what's coming back. And again, good and bad. It can go either way. But I think the more conscious we are of realizing that every little thing matters, every little bounce back is part of it. It's not, man, I'm always doing good. I'm always showing up for people. I'm always doing it. I'm always coming on here every week after week. Like what's coming back to me? Well, one, that's a shitty way of looking at anything we do, right? Like obviously the people that do things for the true purpose, don't ever do them for that. Right? They're getting something from it anyway. So, but that's the point. How do we recognize that all the stuff matters? Every little thing matters, and they're not equal. It's not like mathematics where it's like these two numbers equal that one. It's not how energy and vibrational movement and the harmonious movement of the vibration works. It's, again, you can send out a huge echo wave, yell at the top of your lungs, and by the time it gets back to you, it might be so faint that you missed it. Went right by, you didn't hear it. What was that? Oh, that was nothing. That doesn't even count. That's part of my day. I deserve that, or it's expected. But I think it's all little things that come back to you, and I think sending it out as much and as often as we possibly can, showing up when we can. I started thinking about these things. We went on a trip this last weekend, and I've been feeling one of my friends a lot this past 8, 9, 10 months. And I got to see him for the first time in, over a year and a half or 2 years almost. and he's been going through a lot, but like making the effort when you feel it, like putting it out when you feel it. Should I? Yes, always. If you have to question, should I, about somebody you care about or you love or you're feeling something, the answer is always yes. You know, like if you're feeling somebody else, we talked about dreams last week. When you see people in dreams, like what does that mean? You know, for me, it was like going to see him was just as important, I think, for both of us. And then we had a nice message after I left, and like these small moments actually mean a lot of shit. Like I think what people don't understand is like we don't the texts matter, the calls matter, showing up sometimes when it's unexpected matters, showing people that they matter, and all those little things. Like I said, it's not always for us in the moment. It's not like, oh, if I go, I'll feel good. No, that's not how it works. Maybe if you go, they'll feel good. You know, and that sets off a chain reaction of vibrations. That person witnesses that and sets off a chain this way. And while you're doing the chain this way, and can you imagine if we were all doing that together all the time? Like you affect somebody else with that, and then they send out their echo louder than that person. I mean, that's how businesses worked without the internet forever before it came along. You know, that's how Martin Luther King got all those people to show up without pagers and telephones and text messages. It's vibration. It's how Gandhi got people to witness him. You know, that many people. How? It wasn't the paper. You didn't get a message on your phone. You woke up in the morning, an alert, like, hey, be here on Friday. That stuff is because we already have that alert in us. We got to recognize that it's in us all the time. We have every technology that's in front of us. This thing wasn't like, everybody's like, oh, it's such a great piece of technology, but this has always been internal in human beings. Before this actually, this physical form of this has always been in humans. And that's why we've always got things done without it. And that's why, you know, I strongly believe in what energy can do and what we put out. If we just keep putting out. The issue I have is with all the evil that comes with self-deprecation and self-worth and am I enough and I can't I receive back. It's always internal of am I doing the right things? Does what I'm doing matter? Does anybody care? And the answer is always yes. Might not be the people you think that you want to care, but the answer is 100% yes. Somebody cares enough or so much that it matters that you show up every fucking day for them. Because they might never tell you, they might not respond, you might not even know, but that's the point. We keep sending it out, we're affecting change all the time within people. And sometimes when you're not getting it back ever from somebody, I mean, that's perfect time to tell that person to take a hike and move them out of your circle, because maybe that vibration is not good. Maybe they're blocking your echoes going out. So I know both of you have plenty to say about this, so I'm going to stop talking now, because I think we could talk about this probably for the next 6 hours on this thing. But go ahead. Anybody want to? I don't know if you're both. Did I mute you or no? Or I don't know. I think you're both off mute. So either one of you, whatever you want to say. I know you both are smirking like you're ready to go.
Well, my thought was exactly like what you were talking about, the energetic part of it, you know, and the thoughts and the minds and the awareness. And so you spoke about a lot of things that I was thinking, but I had one other point that I think that there's a lot of people that confuse the physical giving, like what they are giving physically and what they're giving energetically, especially like when people are acting from a place of wounded. Like, so if you're giving because you're a people pleaser, right, and you want to be liked, so you're giving on the physical level, which looks good on the outside, but energetically you're acting and giving out of fear. Or say you agree to help somebody and you're giving because you want to give back and do acts of service for someone, but mentally you are resenting helping, and so you showed up but you hated it the whole time. So really vibrationally you're giving out that resentment, anger. That's what you're projecting out. So potentially, I mean, not always, but potentially you're going to get back those situations and those circumstances and those people, because all of those things were not rooted in the right thing. And like likened to what we talked about last week, it was blessed are the cheerful givers, right? Or blessed are the people who show up because they weren't expecting to receive anything in return, and they did it out of the joy and they did it out of their heart. And then that's when you combine that with the awareness and the positive intention, and then that's what you want to get back. And I think most everything we always talk about, it can always go back to the mindset, the psychology, and the awareness, and how our thoughts create our reality, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Thoughts create reality.
Absolutely.
That's a good transition, Amber.
What was coming up when you were first talking was Harold. What was first coming up for me when you were first talking was that when I was living in Perkiomenville during the time, like after my divorce and like selling a house and dad and a lot of different big transitions in our adult life. And then I was like out in the middle of the woods in the middle of nowhere, and several things were happening. One, I think, and you kind of pointed this out to me, I think I went there to be alone and to kind of not be where I was needed, so that like I couldn't be of service, kind of, because I needed to be quiet and I needed to heal and I needed just this thing, whether I was even consciously doing it for that reason or not. I put myself in that situation. And during that time, I was struggling a lot because I was like ending a lot of really formidable relationships that I'd had for a very long time. And I was also forging brand new relationships that I wasn't asking for, but that I had been asking for my whole life. And some of these people were like at a stage above mine. They were going to help me to kind of move to this next awakening level of my life. And something that kept coming up for me over and over and over again was I was feeling a little resentful and feeling a little like, God, you know, I've been living on earth 30 years. I've been trying to give so much and things, and I don't often get it back from where I gave it. And the lesson that I was being taught in that moment by the people that I was attracting in, thank God, they were like my teachers and now lifelong friends, was that we're always getting it back, like you said, when we don't even know it, in real time, from all kinds of different areas and avenues. And my mistake for the first 3 decades was thinking that the love or service or whatever, good karma, whatever it was supposed to come directly from the source in which I gave it. And that's not really altruism. Like Jesus talks about, you know, when we give, like Portia said, not just the cheerful giver, but also that we shouldn't have to be recognized for anything that we do. We should clearly be able to give and give of our heart in a way that it's anonymous, that people don't even need to know that it's us that's doing the giving. And that's the true giving, is that it's really the death of ego. So that comes up for me a lot, and I try to keep that in my awareness on a regular basis, that, you know, I know that psychology says we're all maximizers, right, Mike? Like even the truest and kindest of people, the priest, the monk, the whatnot, they're doing it in not so people can say, oh, look at how great he is, but because it makes them feel better about their life purpose, right? So it's still self-maximizing.
Yeah, right. We talked about that, and that's a hard one for people to
it's really deep.
Accept. It's a deeper thought process to understand that we are all self-maximizing people, human beings. It's self-preservation. It's part of self-preservation and our survival mechanisms that we already have built in. It's self-maximizing. Everything that we do is for us. But the idea is that when you have better you become better in service of everybody.
Right.
And what better timing in this conversation for Lely to join us, because like she is like, we've had conversations about this, and she's been, you know, she hasn't been with us for a lot of these meetings, a lately, and because she's been working, but like this is exactly the perfect time for you to join this conversation, because we're talking about putting energy out. What you put out, you get back. And if you pour it out, it's like echoes in hallways. These vibrations harmoniously move out in the space, and they come back in different forms. So I know you got something to say about it, and I'm glad you joined at the time because it's your turn. Can you hear us? Here, I'm gonna unmute you. Unmute it. Yeah, it should be unmute on your phone, Ellie.
Okay, got it.
There you go.
Hi.
Hello, hola. I just had a massage, so my face
Yeah,
is
you
all
look
puffy.
beautiful.
Thank you. Well, it's definitely true. You know, what you put out there, it definitely comes back. You know, sometimes I feel like we like a person like myself, I always like to give, and a lot of the times, I definitely have learned in my time that you know, you don't always have to give so much. You know, you also gotta take care of yourself, as I am doing right now. I'm such a workaholic, like you said, and I'm always giving, but I also have to balance and take time to give to myself, because, you know, we have to balance. Too much of anything is never good, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
with, you know, if you work hard, you got to have time to rest. If you know, you don't want to eat too much, because, or you want to balance with the exercise, and, you know, just too much of anything is never good. Balance, guys.
Yeah, you
That's what I got to say about that.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, because, you know, I spoke on, it's not just the energy that we put out that echoes back, and it comes back to us in moments or in 40 years or in different forms. Sometimes we don't recognize it, but we talked about negative energy too. And you bring up a good point of, if we're always just putting out, we will run out of our own, you know, fuel. And to Lally's point, and we talked about this a lot in my company, and just her and I, is like, she was always on me all the time, like, hey, when are you gonna, like, when are you gonna, you know, when are you gonna? And that's the point. If you really drain yourself too much, even if you're trying to give everything you got to your family and your friends and the people, and you're trying to pour out into them, if you don't fill up your tank, that's when the vibrations, sometimes you don't even know, are coming off badly. The energy's turned. It's coming off how you're feeling, right? It doesn't have to be in the words or your actions or being mean to anybody. Energy is weird like that. It comes off. You know, when you meet somebody, you know,
Yeah.
dogs are really good about this. They know when somebody's good or bad. You know what I mean? They come up to you and don't. I think the people on this meeting tonight, knowing you all, you're very good at this. Like, you know, when you're around somebody immediately that doesn't have the good energy, you're like, ooh, good. And I think sometimes it's just because that person has been going through a lot in their life. Maybe they're not self-aware enough at the moment, but sometimes it's just a good person having a bad moment, that they are drained. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not filling their bucket up so they can give the best energy. Amber, you want to say something?
I just wanted to say that it's really interesting, like in massage school, both as a student and as a teacher, I often thought that a lot of the things that were taught there about boundaries, emotions, feelings, touch, energy work, things that no one discussed or said to me from preschool through, you know, college. No one had ever discussed any of these things: energy transference, you know, picking up bad energy from somebody if you touch them or spend time with them, and all these. So one of the things that I really think that we all need to pass along, and that because we're such givers and things, but the education is not there, and we really need to pass this energy along, is that even though we can go down dark roads and we can pick up bad energy and we can feel, bad at different moments for many, many different reasons, especially depending on who's surrounding us, it's really important to remember that, like the vortexes in Sedona and Arizona, there's these polarity centers all over the world and all over the universe. And basically, we're just all working on polarity. We're all just energy being exchanged constantly. That's why we can feel someone when we're in a situation, or we walk into even like a seedy place where everything in there feels weird or everything feels magical, maybe at church or whatever it is. One of the things we don't talk about enough, and we have to remember, and we kind of know intuitively, or we've been taught or put ourselves in situations where we've had these conversations, but we have to have more and more and more conversations with more people, is that the earth is all around us vibrating perfectly. When we learn to ground every time we have a situation, depending on who we're spending time with, when we're having a situation where we're struggling energetically because we've picked up some Klingons, or we've been around some weird energy, or something's bringing us down, but it's like not us, because we realize, God, we're empaths, like we're feeling everything that's happening, but what's mine and what's the rest of the world's, and how do I separate? It's so easy, and nobody talks about it. Go outside, take your freaking shoes off, go stand in the grass, go, the tree hugging thing. It wasn't like a bunch of just hippies like being stupid because they were smoking some pot. It was about touching something bigger than you, which is God, that reminds you that everything is okay, even when the world is chaotic. And it's really, really important that we're grounding and that we're using the earth, and we're using, the miracles of nature that are like everywhere. And that's where we get too connected to this whole people thing. It's a fucking virus. I mean, excuse my French, I don't like swearing here, but and it can suck you. That's what steals our energy and distracts us from our purpose and what we're here to do in our service. We have this innate feeling of how we want to treat people and how we want to be and how we want to model and what we expect from our day and what we expect from the people around us. But we get so caught up in all the stories that we're surrounded by, and the chatter and the constant and the government. There's so many things. Thank God we don't live in like Bangkok or New York City. It's overwhelming. We don't spend enough time just quietly recharging in nature, grabbing the earth and saying, okay, thank you, God. Like it's happening with or without us and whatever we think. And so we do have a lot more power than we know, but we don't have that conversation, enough in the world with anybody really. But I'm lucky because in my trade, it's something that, we talk about because we're so constantly touching.
Right.
Yeah, it is an enlightened conversation. It's not that we're any smarter than anybody. It's just, you have to talk about it to know about it. You have to go beyond what you've been told. You have to go past 1 through 12th grade. It's not
tools.
just what was taught to us. It's about being out there and listening and learning and watching and talking to each other and knowing what we know, and really learning that. One of my biggest things in life, and I just did it this weekend, is when I get bogged down by my inner responsibility I think that I need to be doing for the world. I think like that, and it gets me kind of fucked up. I need to go ground myself, and my grounding is always water. I need to get near a body of water. I need to be there. The ocean for me is mindless. It's massive and mindless. It's undiscovered. It comes in and out just the whole time. You can sit there forever, and this big, huge energy thing's coming in and out. And like Amber said, it's bigger than me. I'm only here for a moment. That's been here. It's just always going to be here. And that's important for all of us to understand that, it's not about what we expect in life or what's owed to us or when is it coming back. Your energy you put out might not come back while you're here in this life, but it will come back to somebody else. It'll bounce around until it hits the person it needs to get to. It's not always us that it needs to come back to. You don't have to expect it. Well, I'm doing all this good. Why am I going to get anything? You are. You're getting it while you're doing it. That's the point of doing it.
Well, we're free in America as first-class citizens. Like, no matter what, we have first world problems. Our legs aren't being blown off. We're not hiding from rubble. as Americans, I think, or, you know, I don't know how else to classify us, you know, who we're talking to. I mean, what do we have to really complain about? I mean, it could be anything we want. I mean, we're all on a device right now talking to each other in different states about theology and nature of things and energy transference. Like, I mean, we're way beyond blessed. Like, we can create and do anything we want. It's just so amazing. And we got to stay in our power and stay in our service and without ego. And just, you know, we're doing it. It's okay. This was predestined. We were sent here to teach. We were sent here to be lighthouses. Like, there's storms all around. There's always going to be storms. And we can't get sucked into the storm. Yeah, we're going to feel different ways on different days because it's the nature of energy. Can't have every day be perfect. Got to have a hailstorm every now and then or some lightning. And that just makes it exciting and makes us think and makes us shift gears and change and do things better. And, you know, I don't know, invent better
It
protection.
challenges us.
Better, yeah, you know.
Yeah,
Amen.
Somebody said something.
Come back to the moment. Come back to the moment. Come back to the moment.
Well, it's like is a choice,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So those people that complain, that's what they're choosing.
Yeah, you give life to whatever you give energy to.
Right.
Right. And if there's something bad happening and you're giving your time to it, you're giving life to it. That's energy. Same way as if you want to give energy to some good. I mean, but think about the things in your life, in your lifetime that you've ever complained about or have been a struggle or been a constant battle for you and a family member or a workplace, anything. I mean, if you think about it going back, it's always the hindsight. It's easier to go back and think about, oh, if I went back, I would have. That's the point of learning. Like, if you go back and think about those times and understand that, you know, if you would have done something different, or how much energy did I give to that, or what was my role in it, or, you know, a lot of things we manifest ourselves. It's really our choice, and we're in control of it. We just put our energy to it. We give it massive life, and that's our choice. You know, we don't have to do that. So it was somebody told me while I was going pretty hard in my work life and career, was that, you know, I'm the one giving life to these things. The things that I was struggling with that I thought were just like, I can't overcome this. It's just constant. It's always this, it's always that I was giving life to them. Everybody has. It's around all of us. It wasn't around me. It's there. I was just pointed at it, and I was giving it time and my energy. And I was giving life to it, and so it felt like it was getting bigger. And we don't have to do that. So I'm gonna leave you with that because we just got 1 minute left. But yeah, Amber, you can swear every other week. By the way, this is the real raw flawed one. Every other week is okay. So we can swear every other week and get more real. Zoe won't have to send to them, and he doesn't like when we swear. So every other week we're allowed to vent as hard as we want.
Hey, I like real, so that's always good.
Yeah. I love you guys. Riley, I super appreciate you showing up, and I miss your face and your energy. I'm glad you showed up for this one. Perfect timing. I love you guys.
Well, there's definitely energy out there. A lot of energy. We just have to learn how to manage it, I suppose.
Yes.
And yes, definitely, you are who you want to be. So be what makes you happy.
Yes.
Because we're not all the same. Like, and we all have something to offer. So, and we all have something to learn from each other.
Right.
So just be what makes you happy. That's all we can do. And we go on from there.
Love you guys.
Thanks for coming.
All right.
Wonderful
Love
night.
you.
See you next week.
Bye, guys.